If fighting is all there is, if we may never pause to reflect on what such devotion to strength is doing to us, then our compulsion will only grow. Already I see the madness that path leads to, and so I shall excise the silver from my hands. In doing so, I shall weaken myself and my sons, but none the less it must be done. The hands are strong and have created great things, but they are not mine. Who is Ferrus Manus? Ferrus Manus is one of the Primarchs created by the Emperor before the Great Crusade. He led the Iron Hand Space Marine Legion, and during his time on the world of Medusa, Manus's hands became encased in a hard metallic substance, and he became known for his iron resolve and disdain for weakness. Ferrus was stolen away from the forces of chaos, just as his brothers were, and he spent his first years on the planet Medusa. As a youth, he discovered an X mark on the pod that first brought him to this world, and that the chamber was too precise to be a natural formation. Exploring further, he discovered runes and electroconductive stalagmites all around the chamber. His inspections awakened an imprisoned colossal biomechanical worm-like creature which attacked him and escaped. He followed its path of destruction and swore he would destroy the beast he had unwittingly released. When he reached the surface, he saw other men in the distance, but wouldn't reveal himself to them. However, Ferrus would gain a significant legend to the clans of Medusa. Walking fully unscathed from the mountains where he encountered the roaming clans and tribes of Medusa, Ferrus would join these tribes as many of his brothers did. Instead, he sought out physical challenges to make himself stronger and more resilient. These tests ended with his battle against the great silver worm Erasmonoth, a metallic beast impervious to harm. Ferrus had to drown it in magma to kill it. The melted flesh of the worm fused to Ferrus's flesh, giving him the true metal hands his legion would take its name from. Ferrus returned to the tribes and lectured them on technology. The clans advanced at a stunning pace, and Medusa prospered. But Ferrus took care to leave the inter-clan rivalry and fighting by never taking sides, as he saw the competition between them as healthy and good. The Emperor would eventually come to Medusa, and Ferrus Manus tested himself on him in a cataclysmic battle that is said to leave laying waste to entire mountains. Finally, having found someone equal, Ferrus accepted the Emperor as his master and took command of a legion of space marines. Ferrus met his brother Fulgrim early on, and initially was disdainful of the Phoenicians' appreciation for art and culture, seeing it as a waste of time when a galaxy needed to be conquered. Fulgrim jokingly referred to Ferrus as the Gorgon, a reference to the mythical Terran creature whose ugliness turned men to stone. The title ultimately stuck.
During the Great Crusade, under Ferrus's leadership, thousands of planets would fall to the remorseless Iron Hands. Each weak link in humanity was to be purged if mankind was to grow stronger. Scholars spoke of the wave of piety and faith that spread before the Iron Hands, with many planets suddenly motivated to look into themselves when they heard that the Iron Hands were approaching. During the Great Crusade, the Iron Hands battled the human diasporics alongside the Emperor's children. This was symbolic of the bond that was shared by Ferrus Manus and the Emperor's children's Primarch, Fulgrim, who were close friends. However, during the conquest of 1544, he received visions from the Eldar alluding to his eventual demise at Fulgrim's hands. Distrustful of Xenos, Ferrus rejected the prophecy. Ferrus was one of the four Primarchs privately referred to by Robote Goleman as the Dauntless Few, the four of his brothers who most exemplified their father's design, whose legions reflected their best qualities. Ferrus did not get along with all of his brothers, however. During the Astrani campaign, he had a severe dispute with Rogel Dorn over what should become of the Astrani machine empire. Ferrus, alongside the Mechanicum backers, wished for the civilization's destruction as heretics, while Dorn wanted them assimilated into the larger Imperium. Ultimately, it fell to Horus Lupercal and an honor duel to settle the dispute. Once swayed himself to the side of the War Master, Fulgrim approached Ferrus Manus before the heresy and tried to lure him to join Chaos. Manus was so enraged at this proposal that he attacked Fulgrim. A short duel took place where Ferrus managed to destroy Fulgrim's sword, Fireblade, the same weapon Ferrus had given to him many years before. Fulgrim escaped after rendering Ferrus unconscious, leaving him alive but taking with him the massive Thunderhammer, Forgebreaker, he himself had crafted for his brother. The Iron Hands were one of the loyal legions the Emperor called to Estvon V. Given the large distance, Ferrus took the legion's fastest ships and departed only with his veterans. Most of them died in this battle, when following the loss of their Primarch, they were struck down by the traitor legions, caught between the hammer of the Emperor's children and upon the anvil of the 4 support legions of the second wave. Fulgrim personally killed Ferrus during the battle at Estvon V, using the demon weapon he required, fighting the lair to strike his head from his shoulders in one foul swoop. Fulgrim, distraught with grief that his closest brother was dead by his own hand, was soon thereafter possessed by the demon within the sword. The possessed Fulgrim then delivered Ferrus's head to Horus. During the Horus heresy, as Horus fell deeper and deeper into chaos and his mental state perhaps began to deteriorate, he took the skull of Ferrus Manus, mounted it on his throne, and began to increasingly speak to it. During their one-sided conversations, Horus lamented that he only had bloody-handed tyrants, mass murderers, and demons for his generals, instead of strategists and men of duty like Ferrus. During the final climactic struggle of the war within the Webway, the Emperor summoned the souls of fallen heroes of the Imperium to serve as an army against the demonic hordes. Ferrus was reanimated as a blazing specter and briefly fought at the Emperor's side. Later, during the final stages of the Siege of Terra, Ferrus Manus reappeared before Sanguinius aboard the warped, corrupted, vengeful spirit. Apparently, the real Ferrus had not a mere hallucination or trick. The deceased Primarch stated they had been brought back by Horus as a demonstration of his power and as a form of psychological torture of Sanguinius. Ferrus guided Sanguinius to Lupercal's court to face the treacherous War Master. When the Emperor was mortally wounded in the Siege of Terra, this created a psychic apparition of Manus which briefly appeared before the Iron Hands on Medusa. According to the Iron Council's logs, their Primarch warned them that a calamity would come to the befall of mankind. When it occurred, though, Manus promised he would return to lead the Iron Hands against it, and a patriation then disappeared. Since the Horus heresy, Clan Cargill maintains that Manus will return one day when the Imperium needs him once more. To this end, they maintain an eternal vigil over the Karashi Heights of Medusa, awaiting his return. The other clans do not have the heart to impede on Cargill on this, for as long as they maintain their vigil, hope remains. 10,000 years later, in the 41st millennium, a demonite of Sanesh taunted Iron Hand Sergeant named Morvox on Chardonnus, claiming that it had seen Manus's head, and it is still screaming. With the creation of the Great Rift, however, many in the Iron Hands believe the time of their Primarch's promised return to his sons has come. The Wardens of Gorgon's Forge are now working harder than ever to unravel its secrets in preparation of Manus's arrival. And all but the coldest of the Iron Hands yearn for that day to arrive. Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. And I hope you enjoyed that entry on the Primarch Ferrus Manus. But before you go, I just wanted to let you know that my book, DSE Archives Vol.1, is available now. If you enjoy anthologies about terror, bloodshed, monsters, and monster hunters, as told by those who survived the unspeakable horrors they endured, order your copy of DSE Archives Vol.1, available now on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com. Just click the link in the description. And thank you for all your love and support. I'm Travis J, and I'm out. Peace.